Thank you. Abdulaziz Elamasis is also joining from Abuja. You're all warmly welcome. All right. Thank you for joining in to the session on winning strategies for difficult times. This is a concept that we call the learn and grow. Okay, and we call this a personal management webinar. All right, so let me ask you, how are you doing? I mean, in the midst of everything that we're going through, I hope you're finding a way to stay positive. Engineer Balaka says is joining us from Kwara. Thank you, and you're warmly welcome. And you know, every time I talk about being positive, I know some people will say, Tinu, must someone be always positive? I mean, even in the midst of all of this negativity. And I will usually say, well, to the best of my knowledge, I don't think negativity solves problems. You know, no matter how negative things are, you cannot use negativity to get out of your current situation. So we still have to stay positive. All right, more people are joining in. When you come in, please just greet us and let us know where you're coming in from. So when we talk about personal management, we say personal management is the ability to control your thoughts, your feelings and actions, and to set and achieve goals. You'll agree with me that at a time like this, we really have to be careful, you know, what our thoughts are doing to us. Okay, so we have a very long way to go today. And if you don't know me yet, my name is Atinuke Oyewumi. I'm the Chief Learning Officer at Stance Consulting Limited, and I'm also the founder of Life Inspired Academy. So Life Inspired Academy is an arm of Stance Consulting where we train individuals on personal development, while at Stance Consulting, we attend to organizational development and corporate workplace training. So that's all that I have to share about me. And Doris is joining us from Zambia. It's good to have you. And you're all warmly welcome once again. So we have an objective here today. And that objective is to supercharge your own commitment towards your personal development. And maybe someone is asking right now, how will personal development put food on my table? Or maybe you're saying, I can't even pay my bills. I can't even meet up, you know, with my expenses. How will this help? Well, personal development helps. Okay, and one of the things I learned from Jim Rohn, Jim was that personal development coach, you know, that lived for so long a time. He's late now. But in his lifetime, Jim impacted many of us, and he still continues to do so, you know, even after his death. One of the things Jim would say, I have a quote here to share. Jim would say, your level of success will rarely exceed your level of personal development. And this is because success is something you attract by the person you become. What do you think about this quote? Okay. Is this quote saying that if we do not make an effort to grow personally, we cannot succeed? I think that's what Jim is trying to say. For us to be truly successful, we have to become that kind of person who attracts success. Okay. It also goes ahead to say here that you need to learn to work harder on yourself than you do on your job. If you work hard on your job, you can make a living. But if you work hard on yourself, you will make a fortune. You know, there is this concept we call work and grow. The essence of work is for us to be able to grow, okay? But when we reduce it to working to make money only, then that's the beginning of more complicated problems, as we're going to see later on in this session, because you spend most of your time at work. So you just try to imagine what happens if you're really not growing, you know, for so long a time, even though you're making money. What happens when the money is no longer there? What would you be able to bring to the table? Okay, so this is why at Life Inspired Academy, we are very, very passionate about personal development. and we seize every opportunity that we have to share ideas that have worked. Okay, so in our session map for today, the first thing we're going to look at are the things we learn. The things we learn. What do they do to us? Okay, can they help us? I'm going to share something that I have learned, most especially about money. Is anybody interested in that? And then the second thing we're going to do is to talk about the 5 strategies for winning in difficult times. Okay? And when we're done with this, I'll give us just 2 bonus tips. But be sure that if you don't wait till the end, you cannot get this bonus tips. So we're recording this meeting so that we can get to share the video later on. Kindly ensure that your audio is muted. And of course, when we get to the end of the session, when you want to ask questions, you would have a chance to do that. Every once in a while, if something hits you differently, you can type in the chat box to let us know that the session is having an impact on you. Or if you have a question, you may type it in, even though you can still ask that question at the end of the session. So, are we ready? If you're ready, please can you type in the chat box? Can you type, I am ready? Let me feel your readiness. Let me feel your readiness. Oh yeah, people are ready. Absolutely. Do you think that the times we're in now is challenging us in a different way? Do you feel challenged in a different way? Okay. Maybe this is why now we are ready. All right. So remember I said we're going to share 3 basic things here. One that I titled the things we learn. The second, 5 strategies for winning in difficult times. And of course, for the people who will wait till the end, they will find 2 bonus tips. So let's get right into what we have to do, because we have a lot to achieve today. What impact really does learning have on us? Okay, when we gain insights, when we gain wisdom, how do these things help us? I want to use this opportunity to share with you some lessons that I have learned in the past and how they have helped me. Okay, most especially at a difficult time like this. Have you also had teachers in the past who taught you, and when you look at where you are today, you're grateful for them? Okay, for me, one of such persons is a man we call our financial expert at Life Inspired Academy. By the way, his name is Mr. Tunde Adetoba. Some people call him the money man. Okay, so somehow destiny brought this man my way in 2014 at a point where I was personally struggling financially. Even though I had a company, I wasn't doing well. I was trying to build my career, in the consulting world. And I'll share with you, okay, what he taught me about money and how those lessons are helping me today. What I learned on money, the first lesson I learned from this man was the importance of money. I learned to not trivialize my personal economics. Okay, so if you're someone like me who grew up in a very conservative environment, you may not know that you have a poor money mindset until you meet people like this. Okay, I did not understand the importance of money. As I said, I was trying to build my career, and at that point in my life, I could do everything for free. I was just trying to gain visibility and trying to let people know how well I could do my work. But I did not really ask the questions that mattered. Those questions like, where will my money come from eventually? How well would I be able to do this work? Who would pay for my products or services? Am I going to sell to the government? Am I going to sell to individuals? Will they be able to afford? And then he also taught me, he said, Tinúkẹ́, nothing is free. If it's free, it's being paid for by someone. You're here today, yes, we say the session is free, but this is sponsored because someone is paying for it. So I started to understand that, oh, come to think of it, you cannot really achieve much if you don't have money. And how did this help me? It helped me to put in more value into my work so I could charge handsomely for the value that I bring to the table. That was a game changer for me. You know, when you're doing things free of charge, a lot of times you may not even put your best in it. You may say, oh, it's my hobby. After all, I'm not trying to make money from it. But when you're going to charge, when you're going to make money from something, you have to really put in the value that will attract that money. Okay, so I learned that money is important, and I became more serious-minded with my work. All right. Let me see the second lesson that I learned from him. I also learned how to strategically position myself to make more money versus just looking for money. How many times have we had people around you say, oh, I'm looking for money, as though the money was lost? Or maybe in our local parlance, someone will say, they find money. At that time, it's not even money they're looking for anymore. It has become money. But think about this. Are there questions you're asking when you say you're looking for money? Where do you hope that money is going to come from? Do you have a product? Do you have a service? What value will you bring to the table to attract that money? This was the second lesson I learned from this money man. And when I learned this, I also learned to position myself in my work and in my field, you know, to be able to attract more money. As a matter of fact, your positioning to receive money requires a clear strategy. Your positioning to receive more money requires a clear strategy. I learned to have a strategy to make money, okay? Also, I learned about money that wanting more isn't greed, so long as you're generating value. In short, you get to a point where it's not always just about the money. You know, some people look at me and say, you work too hard, you hustle. And when they look at me and say those things, I often ask, if I'm not working hard, please, what would I be doing? What looks to you like hard work for me is me exploring possibilities. It's me seeing how much can I achieve in my life, okay? It's me developing my potential, all right? And when you develop your potential, money usually follows, you know, that exercise. So when you want more, it's not that you're greedy. As a matter of fact, there is something I say, it is in having more that you get to have enough eventually. Imagine, just try to imagine that someone had a salary last year, this time last year, that they were very satisfied with, to a point where they just let their head down and say, oh, now I'm in a perfect state. What do you think the story will be right now, considering the current economic reality? Okay? So when you're aspiring for more, it isn't just for today. It is so that as you move into the future, you can be upwardly mobile. As things get more expensive, you would have more than enough. Okay? Also, what else did I learn? This is a very major lesson. I learned how to define affordability. And that question of, can you really afford it? I used to think that if I had ₦1 million, if I made ₦1 million from my business, and I bought something worth 800,000 naira, I thought I was doing well, you know. But my teacher said, no, you couldn't afford it. For you to be able to afford something, should have 2 to 3 times more than the amount of that thing. Wow, this was a major shift for me. And what I found out is that lesson helped me to not expand my lifestyle at every opportunity I got. I learned to keep, I learned to save the money, okay? This will take me to the last lesson. When you're not expanding your lifestyle, what then do you do with the money you're making? I learned how to make money work for me. I learned how to make money work for me, okay? As I said before, if you grew up in the kind of environment that I grew up in, You may not realize that you have a poor money mindset, okay? And having a poor money mindset will mean that when you make money, you spend all. I used to spend all. It was that bad. I was so poor at what we call impulsive buying. In short, it was really terrible. I used to spend everything I made, okay? But I learned from this man that the joy of financial freedom is sweeter than that excitement that you get when you show off or when you try to prove to people that you're doing well. You know, have you noticed that there are some rich people who are not reckless? So many rich people, people who are truly rich, they're not reckless with money. If you read about people like Warren Buffett, they will tell you he's one of the richest people in the world. And he lives in a house that is so old. I mean, he probably had that house before he made a lot of money. It isn't that he can't afford a bigger house, you know, or luxury, but he just doesn't feel the need for it. And I will often say, I can change my car when I feel the need. I will not change my car just because I have money, okay? I would rather put that money in investment and get returns on that investment. Do you know how that helps? Sometimes you're living off returns on investment. You may not even touch the money you're making on a daily basis or, you know, on a monthly basis because you have put money away somewhere. And the interest that you're getting from those investments are enough to pick your bills for the month. How sweet do you think that is? So, again, when I think about this, you know, I often ask myself, isn't that what the ants do too? You know, that story about the ants that they gather in the times of plenty. We say they save for the rainy days. I remember taking some classes 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and I was encouraging people, you know, on financial intelligence. You know, some people will look at me and say, what's your stress, this girl? You know, why not leave people and let them enjoy what they have worked for? We're not saying that we shouldn't enjoy what we work for. We're only saying that when we're smart with money, we think ahead, okay? And rather than impress people, sometimes the people we don't even like, we use that money wisely, put it up in investment, you know, and let the money work for you. Have you gained something from all of these things I learned about money? These are lessons that are really helping me now, as I have told you. And I thought in a session like this, why not share? Because someone will get to learn something, you know, that will also help them. And I'm always grateful for that teacher, you know, that I had at that time. He's still my very good friend, you know, and I still continue to learn from him. All right. So if this is working for you, can I see something in the chat box? Have you learned something so far? Have you learned any lesson? Are you interested? Should we continue with this? You know, people hardly really talk about money, even though everybody wants more money, okay? But just try to imagine that you're making 3 to 4 times what you're currently making now. Do you think you'll be so affected, even though you don't like what the economic, you know, situation is saying? If you have more money, you find out that you're more relaxed and you're able to afford things, you know, more. Your quality of life really will not be affected. So let me see what feedback we have. Yes. All right. Thank you so much. Okay, so let's get into the business of today. Thank you for your feedback. I see that this is working for you. And Bola Mensah says, yes, defining that affordability. That's such a major lesson that we learn. Okay, so remember, I was sharing that so that we can explore how the things we learn help us. The things we learn. I remember in 2007, thereabout, I was lucky to attend a seminar at the Lagos Business School. You know, this was sponsored, just something like this, though it was physical at that time. And I remember vividly that the lessons I learned are things I still use in my business today. You know, some of them about money, some of them about resilience and all of those things. They've stayed with me. Okay. So what you see is that the lessons that we learn, they help us grow. I just told you how I used to be very poor with money. I didn't understand the importance of it. I didn't have enough of it. Even when I made it, I didn't know what to do with it. But those lessons have changed me, okay, and they have helped me grow. Also, the things we learn help us to expand our relevance base. They help you to add value in more meaningful ways. I'm trying to stress the importance of learning. You know, they say the people who learn continuously keep making progress. In short, if you get stuck, if you get stagnated, go and check how you've been learning. And that will be a major feedback for you. Also, as I said, what we learn help us to improve our economic self-sufficiency. I talked about upward mobility just a while ago. Prices of things may be going up, but because you are upwardly mobile, you can still afford. Okay, it's not that you're happy that things are like that, but you just see that you're not a liability on anyone and you have enough sources of income to take care of you. So learning is a big deal. And I say learn and grow. It is one thing to learn and not use what we are learning. But when you learn, you should convert those things to change. Another word for growth is change. When someone says you need to grow, they're simply saying you need to change. You need to change your ways, you know, and develop better habits. Okay, we still have a long way to go. How many of us remember this, connecting the dots? When I was really young, this used to excite me. You know, if I had a book and I just opened it and saw this, I used to get really excited. I don't know why. Maybe because it was something creative. But do you also know that life is about connecting the dots? A session like this gives us the opportunity to really ask the questions that matter. The pictures that we are filling out now are not flat on a page, but they're three-dimensional. You want to ask yourself, where am I coming from? Okay, where am I and where am I going? And someone also said that when you're wise, you will reflect. When you're wise, you will reflect. You reflect on what has worked for you and why. You would also reflect on what hasn't worked for you and why not. Okay, you may ask yourself, are there habits I bring with me to my dreams that scuttle my plans? What is it? I know also that at some point in my life, I discovered that I wasn't as action-oriented as I should be. You know, as an entrepreneur, someone who was trying to grow a business, I was so laid back. I would say, oh, maybe because I was so introverted, yes, but your temperament shouldn't be your downfall. That's what I'll say. You must find the weaknesses in who you are, in how you are, so that you can fix something. There's always something to fix. That's what I found out. You may also ask yourself, how's my environment affecting me? We have so many challenges today. How are those things affecting you? Who are you becoming? Who are you becoming? Okay, so we must reflect. And I also have a quote here that says, to be successful in life, we must connect the dots. This time around, not by counting, but by reflection, by experience, and by gaining insight, which is one of the reasons you're here today. Wisdom is the skill set needed to play the real life connecting the dots game well. So I'm challenging you that as you're here today, as you learn one or two things, you need to deeply reflect so that the journey ahead can be easier on you. Let's also reflect. I remember having a session sometime in June, and I was asking the people, I think they were younger people, and I said, do you have too much time on your hands, but too little money in your hands? Or do you have too little time, yet too little money? All of these things require for you to do something, okay? If you have time, you must learn how to convert that time you have into money. You shouldn't be broke and have time on your hands. Okay, it's a problem. And also, if you're always occupied and yet you have too little money, that's also another problem. Which one is bigger now? Who knows which one is bigger? Maybe at some point you can type in the chat box, okay? Is it to be completely occupied and you're busy, but yet you're not making enough? Or you're idle and yet you don't have enough money? So what this points to, in my own opinion, is that there is something you haven't harnessed about your potential. There is something else you have that you're not using, okay? And yes, we may save this discussion for another time. I just thought to share. So here we are. Remember that we said we were going to talk about the things we learn and how they help us. I've already shared with you what I've learned in the past, some of the things I have learned, and most especially about money. And then, we have also said it's important to reflect and ask the questions that matter. And at this time, we want to go now into the strategies that we came here for. I'm going to share with us 5 strategies for winning in difficult times. Let me even ask, why do you need a strategy to win? Can anybody type in the chat box? Think about it. Why do you need a strategy to win? Why can we not just be anyhow we wish to be and still win? If I find a very robust answer, I promise to give a gift to that person who gives us that answer. Okay? We're exploring 5 strategies for winning in difficult times and how to avoid learned helplessness. Okay? In psychology, learned helplessness is a state that occurs after a person has experienced stressful situations repeatedly. I mean, the kind of things we're going through right now. So it can push someone to a point where they're unable to control. They believe that they cannot control what's going on. They cannot change what's going on. Okay? And because of that, they do not even try anymore. We call it apathy sometimes. When someone is in a problem, they're not happy with their situation yet. They're not unhappy enough to do something about it. Okay? Even when the opportunities are there, they have learned to be helpless. All right, we have some feedback in the chat box. Yeah, Beatrice says, having a strategy provides a blueprint for actions needed to be taken in order to win. Very great answer. Victor says, we need strategies to win, to override situations that are beyond our circle of influence. Wow, great. And Hussein says, strategies becomes key factors in succeeding. All very great answers. So who do I give a gift to now? I'm confused. Let me keep thinking about it. Anyway, thank you so much for the great feedback. All right. So what's the first strategy we're talking about today? Strategy 1. And I'm going to give codes for this strategy. I learned this from one of my mentors. When he's teaching, he will put a code. So sometimes when you're thinking, you easily remember the code and it reminds you of the lesson that you learned. The first code is PYE. PYE says, protect your energy. In difficult times, there is always that temptation to just give up on oneself or to be depressed or to start being so negative, most especially when you don't even understand what's going on. You need to know that for you to win, you must protect your energy, okay? Because you need your energy to win. You need your energy to win. You have spiritual energy, you have mental energy, you have emotional energy, you have physical energy. These are the 4 dimensions of a human being. And your energy comes from all of these zones. While I may not be able to go into details of where these energies come from, but you must understand that these are the zones. I'll say, for example, that when you have faith, you have spiritual energy. Okay? When you're hopeful, you have energy spiritually. All right? When you connect to humanity, when you connect to God, for those people who believe in God, spirituality, not religion now. Okay. Also, let me talk about emotional energy. This comes from your relationships, the quality of relationships that you have. All right. I'm going to share a little later on how one of my friends will say, do not drain my energy. Okay. Protect your energy because you need your energy to win. But let's do a little exercise. I'm sure for those of us who have read the book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, you've seen the circles. Okay. We have 3 circles there. We have the bigger circle, which is the circle of concern. We have the smaller one, which is the circle of influence, and the smallest, which is our circle of control. Now, can you make a list of everything that you're bothered about, everything that you're worried about right now? Okay, if you make a list of them, I want you to carefully place those things in these circles. Maybe after this video, you can take some time to do this exercise. Imagine that maybe there's a government policy, for example, that's affecting you. If you're worried about that, you want to ask yourself, can I directly do something to change this? If you cannot, then you want to come into your circle of influence. Okay, maybe do you hold a position that can help you influence that government policy? If you do not, then you want to come to your circle of control to say, oh, since I cannot directly do something about this policy, I need to manage my mindset. I need to manage my behavior because those are the things that are perfectly within your control. But let me say the big idea is this. The best way to waste your valuable time and energy is to focus on those things that are in your circle of concern. And I would always ask people at this point, if you ever go to a newspaper stand, where people read newspaper for free, you see people discussing, arguing, debating. Sometimes from that place on the road, they're advising the president on what to do and what not to do. They're blaming, they're burning energy, valuable energy. But everything they do there, nothing they do moves the needle. Because those complaints, whatever it is, those things are not going to the right quarters. So that's a waste of energy. Except, of course, maybe you're doing it to unwind. And I would say do it when you have used your valuable energy to achieve something meaningful during the day. So what am I trying to say? Do not put your energy on the things that you're concerned about. Put them rather on the things that you can do something about. When I wake up in the morning, I look at my schedule and I say, okay, within the resources that I have today, which one of these things can I achieve? Just so that I'm not waiting for that big thing that sometimes never comes, but understanding that if I keep controlling those things within my control, before I know it, I will expand my circle of influence. Maybe one day I will get a position that will help me operate in the circle of those things that I'm concerned about. I hope you understood this. So remember the strategy. 1, PYE, protect your energy. Let me share with us what I said I was going to share about my friend. I used to have a friend when I was living in Lagos many years back. So yes, I was just coming up and trying to figure out what to do with my life, but he had a business and he was doing quite well. But one of the things I noticed about him, if you visited him in his office and you were talking about problems, it will just cut you short at some point to say, oh, I'm glad you've identified your problem. So now, what solution do you have for it? Initially, I would feel a bit offended, like, oh, this person is not sensitive, or we feel like he's not caring. He doesn't even care that I have a problem. But much later in life, I understood that it was screaming, don't drain my energy. So you have that problem talk versus solution talk. Some people just talk about problems. They can spend the whole day talking about problems. What solution do you have for it? Because the fact is the problem already exists. So why keep talking about it? If you think about our country, I think we also have this challenge. I don't know what percentage of the TV interviews we watch, keeps talking about the problem with Nigeria is this, the problem with Nigeria is this. How much time do we spend talking about solutions? So You have to think solutions. You have to talk solutions. You have to associate with solution-oriented individuals. At a time like this, it's so easy to have groups of people who keep talking about the problems. Oh, it's the exchange rate today. Oh, it's the inflation, or even the tribal wars that we have going on. Oh, this person is from this zone. And you have a lot of toxicity in the system. Toxicity will drain your energy. Okay, but I am saying, and I'm convinced that that energy can still be put to good use if you will do so. All right? So when someone comes to you next and they keep talking about problems, look for a way to let them know that they should not drain your energy. Okay? So that's the first strategy. The second strategy is PYA. PYA says protect your attitude. Protect your attitude. In difficult times, why do we need to protect our attitude? In short, I know John Maxwell would say your attitude is your ally. Your attitude is your best friend. A good attitude will help you in life, okay? But difficult times can erode our attitude. Have you noticed that? When you're under pressure, psychological pressure, financial pressure, if you're not careful, you may gradually lose your good attitude. So you have to consciously protect your attitude. I remember doing something with someone some weeks back, and when it came to the time for us to share the money, I just gave the money and gave something even larger probably than what the person was expecting. And he was thrilled, like, how can you give this even at a time like this? But I understand that if I say times are hard and I hold something that doesn't belong to me, that's the beginning of more problems. Okay? So we don't have any excuse, as a matter of fact, to make our attitude negative. All right. And then it all stems from how you feel. Do not let your feelings win. Instead, you decide to win. Times are hard, but I don't want my feelings to win. You can wake up and not even feel like going anywhere. Someone may be calling you, you may not even feel like picking your call. Your attitude is gradually being affected, okay? Your feelings are winning, but I want you to know that you are greater than your feelings and you need to step up your game, okay? At times like this also, people struggle with depression, self-pity, sometimes the fear of the future. Do you know that your state of mind can affect or even corrupt your attitude? So when you're conscious of it, it's easier for you to protect it. Someone also said that life is hard enough. Poor attitude just makes things worse. What do you think about it? There is this school bus driver that I know, and he's usually a very cheerful person. So recently, I was driving in an estate, and then, I just saw him come. I just saw a bus driver flashing his teeth, and, as he was driving towards me, I said, wow, this guy is still cheerful. I wonder how much his salary is. He was there laughing with the children and playing. But what am I trying to say? In the midst of all of the challenges, people like that may not even be earning as much as we are. Yet some of us may have lost our joy because things are not perfect. And imagine in a place of work, if they want to lay people off, where do you think they will start from? The people with the good attitude? Absolutely not. Okay? So remember the second strategy, PYA, protect your attitude. You can type in for me the first strategy from your mind now, not from your notes. Can anybody type in from your mind? Was the first strategy that I shared? Let me be sure also that you're following and you're gaining something. All right, so while I wait for that, feedback, some people have typed, protect your energy. Thank you. Thank you, Bilkisu and Victor. So strategy 3. This says BYPC, boost your personal capital. Your personal capital in this sense is what you can bring to the table. What are you worth in investment? Okay, what are you worth? What can you bring to the table? And the only way you can do this is to keep growing. You cannot say times are hard, so please, I don't even have time to maybe attend programs or learn something new. You have to keep growing. You know, Robin Sharma, Robin is one of my mentors. Robin Sharma said in one of his books, he said, education is inoculation against poverty. Education is like an inoculation against poverty, meaning what you learn today will prevent you from a problem tomorrow. You may not even know what that problem will be, okay? And I was lucky. It was my birthday in September, and I was thinking of what gifts to give to myself. So in one of the emails that Robin sent to me, one of the broadcast emails, it said, oh, I have this new book. It's titled The Wealth Money Cannot Buy. Okay, I know I had seen the book, adverts of the book, and it said, I have a course that I have built to teach what's in that book. The course looked quite expensive, you know, but the question for me at that point wasn't, is it expensive? The question was, Tinuke, do you deserve this? Mm-hmm. Are you worth it? And I said, well, yes, that's an investment that can go into me. Now, I was trying to boost my personal capital. And when I say I was quite lucky to be able to, you know, key into that course, because I just noticed that a lot of things just changed for me. What I learned from there, you know, helped me to be able to change my game, to change what I can bring to the table. In short, one of the first lessons, the first lesson or the first wealth that money cannot buy that is shared in that book is growth. I was so shocked when I saw it. It said it's growth. It said when you're growing, you're winning. Do not be bothered about what tomorrow will bring. You just keep growing. When you're growing, you're already winning. And that's a major, major lesson. Okay. So strategy 3 is what? Boost your personal capital. Remember I said before that in the past, I know some people used to tell me that I work too hard. And of course, I've not relented. In short, nobody can dissuade me today that hard work doesn't pay. You will not be able to, because it has worked for me. But when I think about the question they ask me, why do you work so hard? The only answer that comes to my mind is, it's what I put into my life that I can take out later. It is the investment that I put into my life that I'll be able to cash out on. So if I'm not making that investment now when I'm young, please, what do you think will happen when I no longer have the energy that I have today? All right, so keep looking for opportunities that will help you grow. Is this working for you? Are you learning something? Strategy 4, GM. GM says gain mastery. Gain mastery, gain mastery. What are you gaining mastery over? What do you need to gain mastery of? You need to gain personal mastery, and you need to gain the mastery of your work, okay? Do you know that more money follows mastery? I can tell you this for free. When I first started doing this work, you know, I would go to places and just beg to appear. Please, can I just have a session in your program? What was I doing? I was just looking for ways to grow. I was looking for ways to be better. Whether they paid me or not did not count. But today, I can put together something valuable and sell it at a very high price, and people will buy because they know that, oh, this person knows what she is talking about, okay? And it's not that you're there yet, it's just that you're getting better by the day. So you must gain mastery. You must be a master of something that matters. Think about your career. What aspect of that career can you master such that when you talk, people will listen to you more than they would listen to others? A master commands more respect. A master can add better value, okay? And as I said, you need to gain personal mastery. To gain personal mastery means that you can control yourself. You're disciplined. You're not, one of the challenges we have today is distraction from social media, you know, the mindless digital consumption. Some people don't have control over it. They don't have mastery. Okay? If you wake up in the morning and say, oh, today I want to do this, I want to create this business plan, I want to, connect and network with people. And then you say, oh, let me just go on Facebook or go on Instagram. And you get carried away for the next 3 hours. You don't have mastery over yourself. You're not disciplined. So personal mastery would mean that you can always channel your energy to productive use. And you catch yourself when you're getting distracted, so you can rechannel and retrace your steps. And as I said, master your craft. Master your craft. Get better in something. Some people who have known me for a very long time, when they call and we're talking, they say, oh, Tina, are you still in training? I say, oh, very well, yes, I'm in it. And recently I remember buying a book, Talk Like TED, trying to teach speaking skills from some TED Talks. And someone said, oh, you've been speaking for a very long time. Why do you need a book like this? I said, oh, it's because mastery is something you gain on a daily basis. You never get to that point where you say, oh, now I've learned enough. You keep learning, you keep improving. Does this make sense to you? All right. Strategy 5, as we progress. Develop your leadership capacity. Develop your leadership capacity. Why are leaders different? What is that difference between a leader and other people? Leaders take more responsibility. Leaders are more courageous, okay? And they have a voice. They have found their voice and they use that voice. I remember being a part of a training, a seminar many years back, and it was titled Take the Lead. Take the Lead, though it was from a religious setting, but I'll let you know that the lessons I learned from that program really transformed my thinking. The more you see yourself as a leader, the more responsible you become. Okay? And you want to ask yourself, why am I not the person doing this thing in my field? Why am I not the person convening the meetings and all of that? So when you develop your leadership capacity, you think beyond yourself. You lead yourself and you lead other people. This will also elevate your position, elevate your relevance. At a time like this, you need more relevance. Do you agree with that? If you're relevant in 4 places, you can have money coming from 4 places. But if you're relevant in just one place, that means your sources of income, is quite limited. Try to reflect on this. If you see yourself as a leader, how would your actions change? Suddenly you say, oh, I'm a role model to some people. Would you be more disciplined? Would you take more responsibility? I hope you've gained something. I've shared 5 strategies now. Can anybody type in the 5 for me? Who can type the 5 for me? The first one, we say PYE. What's PYE? We said PYA. What's PYA? PYPC. Thank you, Victor. Protect your energy. Do not let people drain your energy. Protect your attitude. Do not let difficulty corrupt your attitude. Okay? You're better off with a great attitude now. Okay? All right. I just want to be sure that we remember the 5 strategies. Thank you, Riskat, also. Thank you so much, anyone. Boost your personal capital. Increase the value of your contribution. All right, so thank you so much so far for your time and attention. Remember, I said we're talking about 3 things, the things we learn and how they help us. We're looking at 5 strategies for winning in difficult times. And I said there were 2 bonus tips. Do you remember I promised 2 bonus tips? Yes. So the third one, boost your personal capital, gain mastery. All right, gain mastery of something. Yeah, in talking about developing your leadership capacity, there's also a book I came across. The book is titled Add Value, Improve the Status Quo. Okay? It's on leadership, and it says lead yourself and lead others. Lead yourself and lead others. I used to talk about a concept, some years back, and I would say that if all you think about is how to survive personally, then you will not be able to operate beyond that scope. You just be thinking of survival. How will I put food on my table? You're thinking about just yourself. But if you're a leader and you're thinking about other people, if you expand the capacity of your heart to accommodate other people, somehow you take more responsibility. You take bigger actions. You take more massive actions. What will happen for you in the end? You will have more than enough, and you will still have enough to share with other people. So my challenge to you is include others in your vision. Don't say, oh, times are hard. I've not even finished taking care of myself. No. Look for something you can give. It may not be money. It may be knowledge. Okay. Maybe knowledge, maybe something. There is something you have. There's something within you, that others can benefit from. All right. So let's go to our bonus tips. And remember that difficult times bring sometimes such difficulties that, as I said, people can make terrible choices. Remember always that poor choices have consequences. And we cannot give the difficulty of the times as an excuse. I mean, if someone steals, for example, and they say, oh, I stole because, I didn't have. Yes, truly they don't have. But do you think stealing would have a consequence? It can have a consequence bigger than they even thought it would have. Okay? So instead, we should look for ways to grow so that we can have more. All right? They say choice is at the center of all success and failure. It is what we choose that makes the biggest difference. Will you choose to grow in a time like this? Or will you choose to just give up and be reckless? All right. Another person also said, it's not the big choices, but the ones that we think do not matter or count that really derail us. It's those little things that you feel, oh, this won't matter. All right. Someone may say, let me cut corners. As a business owner, you may say, oh, let me cheat, let me cut corners. No, those things will corrupt you and complicate matters at the end of the day. All right. So I also love this quote that says, when you pick up one end of the stick, you have automatically picked up the other end. Okay? Meaning there are consequences to every action. I like this. I saw this somewhere. One of my mentors, Seth Godin, also shared something. He said, you're someone's ancestor. I never thought about that. He said, you're someone's ancestor. What this means is that whatever you do today, someone in the future will reap from it. And you are the first person. The future you will ask you, okay, I understand things were hard. Then what did you do? Okay? So it's important that we learn good lessons at a time like this. The first bonus that I'm going to give, you must learn to convert your time into skills and learn to convert your skills into value. And who knows what you will get when you can bring more value to the table. There you have it. You're right. More money. Remember we said, do not just be looking for money. It's a process. Having more money is a process. That's when you're not stealing. Some people say, oh, what's my business with growing since I can steal? And they steal, But you don't want to do that. You want sustainable sources of income. You want to give yourself things that can't be taken away from you, okay? So someone told me once, you are your time converted. You are your time converted. So what do you convert your time into? And as I said, convert them into skills. At a time like this, you may need to reskill. In short, if you find yourself going 2 years without adding new skills, you really want to be very careful. You may need to reskill. You may need to upskill. Upskilling means that you're learning how to do what you currently do on higher levels. Okay? And that's really very important, for us. When you can do this, you can generate value. That's real productivity. Do you know some people keep saying, I'm going to work, they go to work, they come back, they go to work, they come, but they're not really productive. They're not really producing. Okay? You want to ask yourself, what value am I producing on a daily basis? I learned to understand this concept in my business. I remember at some point I had an office, I just kept saying, yes, I'm a consultant, but I didn't have product. I didn't have things. I didn't have services per se, But when I understood that money follows value, I began to look for more valuable things to do. One of such is one program that we call the Lead Equipped, that looks at the deficit of leadership capital in Africa. I had this vision years back. Oh, I would love to do this, work at the level of the continent now. This is bringing more value. And last week we were in Kigali in Rwanda with some leaders from Africa, and we were having this program. And when I looked at it, I said, this was a dream someday. But I didn't just sit and fold my hands and that dream happened. I made sure that I contributed more value, convert my time into more skills, and then I could operate at that higher level. Did more money follow it? You want to ask me after this session. All right. So you want to have sustainable sources of money, income. And this is what you get when you develop your skills. So basically what I'm saying is PYW, protect your work. Someone said when your work is working, many other things will work. Protect your work, putting more skills into your work. And this second bonus as we round off says, expand your network, EYN, expand your network. If you're complaining today that you don't have enough money, and yet you don't have more people in your network, I think you're going to be there for a very long time, right? I'm not prophesying, but you need to have more people in your network. You need to move from who do I know to who knows me. Okay, when you're saying who do I know, you're still operating within a very small frame. People should know you that you don't even know. That means you're popular. It's not a popularity contest, but what it means is that the more people know you, the more people know what you can do, the more people know how valuable you are, the more opportunities you will have. Have you gained something from this session? Has it been worth your while? Are you going to share what you have learned with someone somewhere? Okay. What we try to do is to encourage you to boost your personal development. Remember, I said that was the main objective for this session. And I try to share with you what we learn can do for us. I also shared with you 5 strategies to win when times are really hard. And then I shared with you 2 bonus tips. Now it's time for you to ask questions and let's have some discussions as we shut down. I'd love to hear from you. We have some, chats in the box, okay? Yes, you have shared here the 5 strategies. I want you to keep these lessons very close to your heart because they're going to help you. They're going to really make a difference if you practice them. So, do we have questions? Let's take some time to attend to some questions. Do you have questions or do you have a comment? Have you gained something? Are you thinking about something and you're wondering, how will I use this? This is the time that you can ask your questions. It's a very silent class today. All right, we have a chat. Okay, someone says, Beatrice says, I have learned a lot. Mohammed says, I have a question. Please, you can ask your question. If you have good network, you can unmute and ask the question, and you're sure you don't have noise in your background.
Thank you, Ma. My name is Okeudo. It's always It's always empowering. Empowering. Let me use the word empowering, listening to you anytime. That's I'm always rushing, even no matter how busy I am. I've done a great deal. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. So this is Dr. Okay, is it?
Present, ma.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Do we have questions? Mohammed says he has a question. Do you want to type in your question or do you want to unmute and ask? If you don't have noise in your background. Yes, Priscilla also has a question. She can
Hello?
go ahead. Okay, is that
Hello?
Mohammed?
Hello, ma.
Yes, please go ahead.
Yes. Yes, my question is that I will highly appreciate, if you can repeat strategy 1 and 2, because, the time of the meeting, we break for 5 minutes, we went to pray.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so
Okay.
we mixed strategy 1 and 2, honestly.
Wow,
Very
you missed.
interesting. Yeah. So I would appreciate if you can mention the 1 and 2. I have 3, 4. Yeah, so, but I missed the 1 and 2.
Okay. So what about if I share the video with you? Will that work?
It will work very well.
Yes. Yes. I'll
Very
definitely
interesting.
share the video. Yes, please.
Okay, so that's too. I really appreciate. And honestly, I learned a lot, particularly expanding your network, under the bonus. It's something we are working on and we will continue to work on because it really goes a long way.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate this. It's a very it's really interesting. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Sir. Okay, do you have any question? Any more question? Can we shut down?
So mine is really an apology. I'm 1 hour behind your schedule. So I got
this Dr. Priscilla.
Yeah, I got it mixed up in my time. So please, can I have the video, please?
Okay, absolutely. I'll share the video. Okay, all right. So in the absence of questions, I want to say thank you for your time and attention. Some people joined late. Okay, all right. So yeah, I'm definitely going to share the video with us and we can keep talking for those people who are in our WhatsApp group. We can keep talking, even though I know that it's not an open group. We shut down our open group a while ago, but you can reach me personally if you have questions and then we can continue to learn. I will definitely share the video. So let me appreciate you. Many people came in early and they've stayed from the beginning till the end. I'll clap for you. All right. Thank you for the valuable feedback and the contributions that you gave all through the presentation. And I wish you all the best. Okay. Thank you and take care.